Now we want to start filling out data into our exchange. We want to pull data from the smart contracts and start, filling out all the orders. So the first thing we want to do is actually list the trades, the completed orders. And in order to do that, we're just going to fetch all the orders from the blockchain and go ahead and load them up into our Redux state, and then we'll have access to them to do whatever we need. We'll be able to show all the completed orders. That's going to be all the trades, all the open orders for the order book over here, all my orders that I've, traded, and we can build a price chart, okay? So that's going to give us a lot of data to do a lot of different things. And there's going to be a little bit of a hump for us to get over in order to do that. So just bear with me. All right, so how are we going to get the order data? Well, so when we built the smart contracts, I'll just show you. We did a couple things. We have a couple different data stores in them that track the orders. So I'll just open the exchange. And you can see that, we have this orders mapping that basically stores all the order structs and the orders count. Now, really, this is primarily for internal purposes inside the smart contract. We're not really going to use the order struct or the order count so much when we're building out the user interface. Instead, what we're going to focus on is using the contract events. And that's why we wrote so many smart contract events inside of each of these functions. Like anytime something happens, we trigger an event. So, when an order is created, we create an order event. When an order is canceled, we, create a cancel event. When an order is filled, we create a trade event, all right? And the cool thing is Solidity allows us to get access to every single event that's ever been triggered from this smart contract. So anytime the order function was triggered, we have history of that. We have, an event stream that we can read to pull back all the order data, okay? So if you go to the Web3 documentation, I'll put a link to this in the video resources. You can basically see this function, get past events. You can get the smart contract and call get past events on it, passing the event name and some options, and it's going to give you all of the past events that you want for a specific event. So in our case, we want to get every single order event to find all the orders that we need. So that's going to give us a really good starting point. So we're going to fetch all the orders, and we're going to fetch all the canceled orders, and we're going to fetch all of the fulfilled orders or the traded orders already. And that's going to allow us to do a couple things. It'll allow us to calculate what we show in the order book for open orders. It'll allow us to show the traded orders, and it'll allow us to show our orders. So for example, when we list out the traded orders, we'll be able to basically say all the filled orders that, were ever filled. All the order book orders will be all the orders that haven't been filled or canceled, right? We can also filter through the orders to see which ones came from us to show our orders here, okay? So we're going to get to all that in depth, step by step. So that just gives you an idea of where we're going in this video. So hang on and we will get there. So there's a lot to do, like I said, but once we get over this hump, we'll have accomplished a lot of great progress that will help us build the rest of the app faster. All right, so let's go to our interactions file. And here's where we're going to load the blockchain data first. So we're going to load all the orders. I'm just going to scroll down to the bottom of this below, load token, load exchange. I'm just going to give ourselves some space. I'm going to say export const load all orders. All right, this is going to be an async function. And inside of here, what we want to do is basically a couple things. We want to fetch, the canceled orders with the cancel stream. All right, we're going to do the same thing for the filled orders with the the trade. And then we want to fetch all of the open orders, or just we want to fetch all orders with the order stream. So we're going to calculate open orders by basically taking orders and subtracting canceled orders and traded orders. Does that make sense? So this is all the orders that ever happened, and we can subtract these in order to get the open ones. All right, and we're going to stash these in our Redux store. So let's do this one by one. We will basically get the cancel stream like this. So let's look at our Web3 documentation and say, my contract, get past events. We'll pass in the event and the options. So we'll need access to the contract. We'll say, exchange. And we'll say exchange, get past events. And we'll say cancel. And we're going to add some filtering here. Say from block 0 to block latest. And that's going to look on the entire blockchain for all these. We could specify a smaller range in the blockchain by, saying, specifying block numbers here, but this is going to look on the entire blockchain. Okay. So we will load this like this, like const cancel stream. That's an event stream. And we will basically format it, right? So let's just do this. So I'll say console log cancel stream. All right. So we need the exchange, and we also need a few other things. Let's go ahead and start logging this to the console. So in order to do this, we're going to have to call the function. All right. So let's do it in our, let's see here. We call it content, our content component. All right. Let's go ahead and call this, load all orders function inside of here, just so that we can, start logging it to the console and just see what happens as we build this out. So, let's see here. Let's actually import that first. We'll say import load all orders from ... store interactions. All right. And what we'll do, we're going to use something just like our app.js component where we did the load blockchain data pattern. So I'll just copy this. All right, close this, put it inside here. We're going to load the blockchain data. All right. And I am going to clear this out. I don't want to do all that. We're just going to use dispatch here. And I'm going to say, await load all orders. Okay. And I guess we can pass in dispatch as well. We're going to need it eventually. So we'll do dispatch, but we also need the exchange. So where does that come from? All right, so before we do that, let's update this. Exchange, and then dispatch. All right, so where does the exchange come from? Well, we have it in the Redux store already. I think our app's broken, yeah. It's in the Redux store, but we can fetch it out with a selector, right? So if we look at our selectors, we already have something that's checking for the exchange loaded. We can basically just create a new exchange selector. We'll do it like this. Just paste it in. So exchange is going to be, get state exchange.contract, and then exchange selector is just going to be, fetching that and then returning it. All right, so let's import that into this file as well. We'll go back to our content component, and we're going to import exchange selector like this. Boom. Import exchange selector from store selectors. All right, so now we can add the exchange here. Exchange equals exchange selector, pass in state. All right, so that maps state to props, and it's going to pass it in here, so we can say this.props.exchange. So I'll say this.props.exchange. All right. So let's look at our browser and see if this worked. Okay, so no blow-ups. Let's open the console. See if anything was logged. All right, so a promise was logged. I think I forgot to do await. So let's go back to interactions. And yeah, so await. All right. Boom, there we go. Awesome. So let's look at this stream. And we can see that something was logged. This looks to be, yeah, it's an order stream. So that's what came back. This is the stream of all the canceled orders. All right, so there's one inside of here. If you remember, we created the seeds to go ahead and add some data for us. Inside that video where I wrote this seed exchange, we created a canceled order. All right here, and there's one already on the blockchain. And we subscribe to all the smart contract events that have ever happened, which in this case happens to have one canceled order, right? So we've logged it out here to the console, and we want to actually fetch the data from it, right? So we don't want to stash this entire thing in the Redux store. We just want some of this stuff, right? So basically, like, look inside of here, the return values. We just want the basic information, like the amount get, the amount give, the order ID, the timestamp, token give, token get. That's the data we're going to pull out. So we can do that from our selector like this. Well, actually, just when we're loading it up. Inside this load orders function. So we'll format them. Format the canceled orders like this. So basically just say canceled orders. Let's actually do let. Const canceled orders equals cancel stream, this right here, and we're going to map over it. Say map event. So this is the event inside the stream, and we're just going to fetch the return values. So event return values. So here, now you can see it like this. All right, now we just have this stuff is what we want. Well, didn't work like expected. Let's actually save that and do it again. Oh, I didn't console log that. Sorry. Let's console log that. So console log cancel orders. All right, we'll see that in action. All right, I'll pull this up. And you can see, sorry, I might be cutting off on the bottom of the screen, but now you can see the data we want. You can reference it by index, or you can reference it by attribute name. So amount give, amount get, etc., etc. We've got the order ID. That's really what we care about. All right, so we got all our order data. And now let's put this in the Redux store. So we can do that like this. Basically, we'll want to dispatch an action and then, run that through a reducer and then put it in the store. So let's do this like we did others. We'll just kill this, and we'll say add canceled order to the Redux store. All right, say dispatch canceled orders loaded, and we'll pass in the canceled orders. All right, so let's implement this canceled orders loaded. We will create an action. We'll do it in our exchange namespace. Not really a namespace, but this exchange section. So I'm going to copy this, paste it. All right, this will be, instead of exchange, this will be canceled orders loaded. All right, and then we'll pass in canceled orders. And then instead of exchange, this will be canceled orders. All right, I'm just going to copy this. All right, now let's implement that in our reducer. So let's say cancel orders loaded. All right. And inside of here, I will handle that case. So basically what we want to do is basically just update the state and tell it that the canceled orders were loaded like this. So we'll say return ... state canceled orders, and I'm going to do this and say loaded true, and also data, and this will be all the canceled orders. So action canceled orders. Okay. So we're using a loaded flag, just like we did here with token loaded. All right. And this is going to be the data for all the canceled orders. All right. So that adds it to the Redux store. Let's refresh the page. Well, actually, I think we need to import. So we need to import canceled orders loaded inside of interactions. So let's do that like this. All right, save that. And let's go back to our browser and see what happened. We'll pull this up. All right, there we go. Cancel orders loaded. It's logged to the console. Let's check out our store. Cancel orders loaded. Look at the state and see the exchange. And there we go. Canceled orders. We can see that. I'll pull this down. Sorry, let's see. Come on, Redux. Work for me. Well, I can't get this to work right now. But basically, we can see that the loaded flag went to true, and there is some data inside of here, which is an array, and it's got all the data, right? There's the first order. It's a canceled order. Here's the user, the token get, the amount get, the token give, amount give. There we go. Boom. Awesome. So we've loaded canceled orders into the state. Now we want to add some more, and we'll do it pretty much just like we did here. We're going to fetch the, which ones do we want to do next? How about we fetch the trades next? So basically all the filled orders. So if we go back to our smart contract, let's look at the exchange. We did canceled orders. Let's do the trades next, right? Here's what we listed here. So we'll do it just like this. So cancel stream. All right, we'll say trade stream. All right, and we'll say exchange, get past events. Let's do trade. All right. And then we'll basically do this. Instead of canceled orders, we'll say filled orders. I'm going to kind of convert this to our front end naming. We're going to call this filled orders on the front end. I'll say trade stream, map, event, and then get the return values just like we did here. Just some quick formatting. So format the filled orders. Okay, and then lastly, we want to add it to the Redux state. So I'll just copy this, do it here. Dispatch filled orders loaded. Say filled orders. All right, awesome. So we did that for the filled orders. And lastly, we're going to do it for all of the orders, right? Go to our, let's see here, exchange. And we're going to do it for every order that's ever been triggered. So anytime an order event that was created, we're going to do those. So I'll just paste that in like this. Boom. So that'll be the order stream. Get past events order. Load all orders. Get the return values. And then dispatch an event. Or an action, sorry. All orders loaded. Okay. So let's create the other stuff we need, which is these actions, and then we'll handle them in the reducers at the same time. So inside of here, let's create filled orders loaded and also all orders loaded. So here we go. Cancel orders loaded. Add some space. So let's say filled orders loaded. And this will be filled. And we'll also do this for all orders loaded. Sorry, I'll do this. All right. And this will be all. All right, there's a lot of stuff to change here, but it's nice and easy. Okay, so inside the reducers, we're going to handle those cases for the exchange. So let's do the same thing, basically. We're going to handle all orders loaded and also the other case as well. And we'll do that just like this. Boom. So after canceled orders, we'll check for the filled orders, and we'll check for all orders, and we'll add them to state like this. Loaded will be true, and we'll just stash the data. All right. So I'll save that, go back to our browser. Okay, we haven't imported them yet, my fault. Let's go back to interactions, import them like this. Say filled orders loaded, and then all orders loaded. Save that, go back here. There we go. So nothing's broken from the UI perspective. Let's look at our console, no issues. Let's go to Redux and see if they're stashed in the store. All right, we can see some events or some actions. Cancel orders loaded, fill orders loaded, all orders loaded. We'll go to the state, look at the exchange, filled orders. There you go. Boom, loaded true, data true. Awesome. All right, so that hydrates our state with all the orders from the smart contract in the blockchain. Now, let's fetch them out of the state and list the filled orders here in the trades section, okay? So that's what we're gonna do. We'll go back to the app. Let's create a new component inside of our project, and we're gonna render it out here. Okay, so we're just gonna create a component for this. We're gonna fill out the orders in this section, okay? So let's do that. I'm gonna find the last item. So everything that's inside this vertical, we're basically gonna take out. Okay, so we're gonna take out this card. And we're gonna put in a new component. So create a new component. And we're gonna call this component trades. So basically I'm gonna name the components after the section names. All right, so inside of here, we're gonna do something very similar to our nav bar. I'll just paste in some code that will include the markup from the top level. Here's an example of a really quick boilerplate component that we're going to use for the trades section. Right? It's just really basic. Here's the trades component. We have the map state to props already set up for us. So we'll fill this out, and we export it here. All right. So let's take the content, this markup, essentially, and put it inside there. Just copy it, and we'll just paste it in here. Inside of this return, just to know that it worked. All right, and then we'll go back to the content. We will let's see here. We're gonna import the trades like this. Import trades from trades. All right, and we'll render trades here. Let's go to our, all right, it doesn't exist, so let's see what's going on here. Oh, I know what the issue is. So this is a gotcha that happens a lot with ES6. So this is it right here. I put curly braces around trades. Now, you can look up ES6, like named exports and stuff like that. Basically, because this is a default export, you can't use curly braces, right? So for example, like this is a default export from React. You can name this whatever you want to. It doesn't use curly braces around it, but this is a named export, which does use curly braces. So you can look that up if you want to, but that is the issue here. So I'll take this off, save it, go back to the page, and there we go. All right, so it still worked. We can still see our card here. So our little refactor did what we expect it to, all right? So now we want to continue on filling this out. First, what I'm going to do is create this so that we can actually list out the orders. So right now we just have this blank card, right? But Bootstrap basically gives us some tables that we can use for our order. All right, looks like this. And we can use this to list out some components like the token that is, being sold, tokens being bought, and then the price. So I'm going to create a basic table inside of here. I'm going to remove all this stuff from the card body like this. We'll just take this junk out, and I'm going to paste in a table like this. All right. So let's look at this. So table is going to be pasted inside of here, and it's going to be a dark table from Bootstrap and a small table, and it's going to have small text. So you can certainly read up about more of these on Bootstrap if you want to. I'll put this link in the video resources, but we're just going to create a basic table for now. And we'll have the time of the order, the token, and the trading pair. Okay. So let's show that. All right, here, time, token, and trading pair. And we'll add some classes to absorb some better styling on this as we build it out. But that's essentially what we're going to do. We're going to take this table, we're going to populate all these table rows with all of the orders that have already been filled, all the trades, okay? So in order to do that, we have to create a selector to fetch all of them out from Redux and inject it into this component and then loop through it and then list them out inside of here, okay? So there's a lot to do, but hold on tight and we will walk through all of it step by step, all right? So let's go to, let's see, app.js, let's go to the selectors. So inside of here, we're going to basically create a filled orders selector, and that's going to list out all the trades that we can map over and list on this page, okay? So we can create the filled orders selector like this. We'll just create a new function name called filled orders. So we'll say filled orders equals state, and then we'll say get state exchange filled orders data, and then we'll provide a default value, which will be an empty array. And then we'll say const, all right, let me give ourselves some space so that we can pull this up on the screen. And now we want to create a selector for it. We'll say export const filled orders, orders selector equals create selector. And then we'll pass in filled orders, and then we'll pass in the orders. So we'll format them. And in here, let's just console log the orders. Orders, or order in this case. All right, so we're going to do a lot of formatting for the order whenever we do this. Oh, sorry, it's still orders. We're going to format the orders like crazy inside of this function, okay? So let's go ahead and pull this selector in. Actually, while we're here, let's go ahead and just check that the field orders have loaded, right? We've already done that, so let's do this. Boom, field orders loaded. So just like exchange loaded, just like token loaded, we do field orders loaded. And I'm going to wire up these selectors inside of our component like this. So go back to trades, and at the very bottom of the trades component, I'm going to map state to props, and I'm going to add the orders like this. So field orders loaded and filled orders. We're going to use the two selectors we just created, and we also must import them. All right, so I'll do that now. Oops, sorry. And then I'll do this. So now we're not going to show anything on the page yet, but we are going to log it to the console. We're going to use that selector. All right, so let's look at the console. We'll be able to monitor the progress of the orders. So we've already selected the basic orders out of the state. We can see them here, all right? But now we want to format them so that we can list them out in this component. All right, so the first thing we want to do is sort them. We want to actually list our orders by date descending. So we want to see the most recent order first. All right. So we can do that like this. We'll go back to our selectors and let's see here, sorry. Back to our selectors and we'll sort them. So we can do this, say orders equals orders.sort, and we'll sort them like this, say A, B, and B timestamp minus A timestamp. So this will be sort orders by date descending for display. All right, so that should still work. Make sure our app is still working. Reload this. All right, let's see. So we'll fix this in a minute. Don't worry about that. But yeah, we can see it's still working. We were logging the orders to the console. And now we've got a couple more things we want to do. First is we want to decorate these orders with a bunch of extra attributes. Like right now, they're really raw, okay? It just has some basic data, right? So we want to expose some more information, right? So what would the example be? Well, we want to know like whether it's a buy order or a sell order, right? So an example would be, an actual price. Like we want to see a formatted price or, a formatted timestamp. Because right now we're just going to get a Unix timestamp back. Like this is just seconds. We don't want to see a seconds timestamp here. We want to actually, like see something we can read as a human. We want to get the actual price in a human readable way. We want to do a lot of stuff, okay? We want to find the ether amount. Like we want to format this to, a human readable value, not just the way value, right? All kinds of stuff we want to do. So let's do that. Also, we want to make the trades like red or green, and we can determine whether we do that in our order book with this decorator as well. So we'll create a decorator, which is a concept where we decorate the order, we give it more attributes, and we're just going to perform the calculations, and I'll show you how to do that. All right, so we'll go back inside of here, and I'll create a decorate order function. So I'm going to add some more space and say const decorate order. All right. And well, really, let's say decorate filled orders. Decorate. We're going to do decorate order individually next. So let's say orders. And we'll say let previous order. Well, actually first, before I get into that, let's just leave this by itself. We'll just return orders map. Let's say order. And here's where we'll decorate the order inside of here. We'll just say order equals decorate order. We'll pass in the order. All right, so I'm actually going to take this outside of here. This is kind of ugly. So say orders. So now we need a decorate order function to give it some extra attributes. All right, so I'll say const decorate order. So if you're not catching on what's going on, I'm decorating the filled orders. Basically, I'm doing them all here. This is on the collection, and this is on the member of the collection. All right, so decorate order will equal order. And then I'm going to give it a function. And inside of here, we want to basically add all the extra attributes, okay? So we'll fill this in a second. All right, so for now, let's decorate the orders. We'll go up here. All right, so we'll do it like this. We'll say orders equals decorate filled orders. All right, like we did here. We'll pass in the orders. All right, so we'll do that. Pass rate decorator. For now, let's just return order. Just make sure everything's talking to one another. Go back to our web page, and I think this is refreshing still. All right. Okay, so looks like it's undefined, so we do have a little bit of an issue. All right, so what's going on here? Let's go back here. All right, let's return. Sorry. All right, yeah, so we're still working. So we haven't done anything yet. We haven't decorated the orders. I just wanted to make sure that all of our functions are talking to one another. We didn't name anything incorrectly or anything like that. So right now this does nothing. It just returns everything exactly like it was. But we can drill down inside of here and actually start adding more attributes to each order. Okay, so let's do that. The first thing I want to do is basically determine the ether amount that's going to be in the order and also the token amount. Okay, so it's not always apparent when we look at the orders. So if you go to the exchange, whenever we create an order, we just say, like token give and token get. We don't tell you which one's ether necessarily. But remember, we use this ether address to check for, ether inside the tokens mapping, right? And also the same for the order. If it uses a blank address, we know it was Ethereum. And if it was not, we know it's a token. So we can do that inside of our exchange, right? So what we'll do is basically say if token give on the order, right? Go back here. If, token give is this is the ether address, all right, then the ether amount, we're going to read it from this. Or where is it? Sorry, token give, let's say amount give. So the ether amount will come from this, and we can format this and turn it into ether, not way, right? And if the token give is not this, then we know that's the token amount. All right, so I'll copy this. We'll go back here. We'll say if order.token give equals, this. That's from the console. I just pasted it in. Then ether amount is going to equal to order.amount give. And the token amount equals order, let's see, amount get. So else, the opposite's true. So I'll just paste that in and crisscross these. All right. So we can return the decorated order like this. We'll say return. And then we'll say ... order, just like we did in the reducers, and say ether amount. We'll say ether amount. And then token amount. All right. And, I know we can say this without the colon, but we're going to format this in a minute, so I'm going to leave it. So let's just save that and see what happened. All right, so we got an issue here. I need to actually declare these. So we don't want to return order either. We want to say let ether amount and let token amount. All right, so now let's try that. All right, let's see if it worked. Boom, there we go. We see the ether amount, right? And it's the same as the amount give, and we can see that the token give was the ether address, so that logically checks out. All right, and we see the token amount is here, and token get is that, so it's the same as the amount get. Awesome. So that's how we determine, what the ether value was and what the token value was. So we want to convert this to its actual ether value, not this way value that comes back on our order. So we did this in our tests and we did this in our script, and now we also have to do it on the client side. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new file that lists some of these helpers, right? So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to do it here. So I'll create basically a new file in the terminal, say touch source helpers. All right, so it's not going to be in our components directory. It's going to be in the top level source directory right here. So I'll open this. And inside of here, I want to store the ether address just like we did in the helpers for the test files. Boom, ether address like that. And then I want to be able to convert tokens to ether and vice versa. And we did this just like we did in the test. So boom. So const ether is going to be, way divided by the decimals. This is going to be 18 decimal places. And we can track the decimals like this. So I'm going to do this without Web3. We did it with Web3 in the tests, but I don't want to have to pass Web3, down through the functions, and I don't want to import it in either. We can just do the math ourselves right here. So this is going to give us a way, basically, to format ether and tokens very easily inside of our helpers like this, and then we can get the ether address as well. All right, so let's go back to the selectors, and at the very top we will import ether address, tokens, and ether. We're going to do this from the helpers file, so .helpers, it's up a directory. All right, so now I want to use ether address here. And then we're going to use ether and then tokens. All right, so let's go back to our browser, refresh, and let's see if it was decorated. All right, boom, there we go. We got the ether amount is 0.15. That's exactly what we want to see. We want to see, some formatted values, and the token amount is also formatted. So now we have human readable values on our order. So we've decorated it to, show us what we want to see as humans. All right, and we also our ether, it's working properly because we checked against the ether address from the helpers, and we know that everything is wired up, and we can continue implementing order decoration. So let's see here. Next, we want to basically calculate the token price on the order. All right. So I can do that like this. I'll say let token price, all right, equal the ether amount divided by the token amount. So remember, the price is just a rate. I think I showed you this in the intro to exchange video. So go back and rewatch that if you're not familiar. It's basically the price of the token is just how many ether per tokens. Just like the price of a cup of coffee is how many dollars per cup of coffee, right? It's just a rate. So we do simple division for that. We can say token price equals math, round, token price times. Let's see here. We'll use a precision. So we're just gonna round to 5 decimal places. So we'll say const precision equals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Say precision divided by precision. So calculate token price to 5 decimal places. Maybe let's put the precision up here. All right. So now we can also put in the token price. Boom. All right. Let's look inside of here and see if the token price exists. All right, there's a token price. Boom, there we go. Rounded to 5 decimal places. Awesome. So now what I want to do is create a human readable timestamp. So we see, this right here. This is the epic time that I mentioned before. What I want to use is moment.js to format this. So here's moment.js. It's a JavaScript library for working with time. And we can use it to basically format our Unix timestamp just like we want to, so that we can create a human readable time inside of our Exchange. All right. So I'll go back to the selectors, and we've already installed Moment, with npm in the package.json file. So I'll go ahead and import it like this. I'll say import Moment from Moment. And now what we'll do is actually just format the timestamp, right? Here we'll just say formatted timestamp. And we'll say moment. All right, that's how we do it with moment.js.unix. Because it's a Unix timestamp from the smart contract. Say order.timestamp. All right, and I say format. And we'll pass in the format we want, which would be hour, minutes, seconds, and then this. So that'd be AM or PM, and then the month, and then the day. So that's going to be the timestamp that we show on the Exchange for the orders. All right, so there's our basic order decoration. So we've got a lot we've done here. Let's go check these orders again, and we can see that the timestamp was included. So we got formatted timestamp. Boom, there we go. So 9:19:50 p.m. on 4/10. All right, this is going to be probably in UTC time, but there we go. Or this actually is probably your system time. All right. And next, what I want to do is actually add some special decorations just for the filled orders themselves. So this basic decorate order function we're going to use in other places of the Exchange, but I want to add some special decoration just for filled orders. Okay, and I'll do that like this. Basically, Instead of returning order here, we'll say order equals decorate order, and then also order equals decorate filled order. All right, and this is the order, and we'll return the order here. All right, so I'll create a new function here, and it's called decorate filled order. Okay, say say const decorate filled order. All right, and I'll say order. This will be a function. So what do I want to do inside of here? Well, on our exchange, we basically want to show whether the order, was the order price was higher or lower than the previous order. Okay, and we'll basically check the difference. And if it was higher, then we'll show a green text, right? If it's lower, then we'll show red text. Okay, so if it's higher, we basically want to add a special CSS class to show green text, and if it's lower, then we want to show red text, and we'll add a special CSS class for that. So we'll say return order, and we'll say token price class. All right, and we'll create a new function to calculate this token price class. I'll pass in the order price. All right, inside this function, const token price class, we'll evaluate the token price and the order ID. Let's see, order ID. All right, and then we'll pass a function here. Inside of here, basically, show green price. Token price class equals this. Show green price if order price higher than previous order. Show red price if order price lower than previous order. All right, so how do we do that? Well, we got to compare the prices. And if you notice, we only have one order inside of here. How do we actually get the previous order? Well, I'll show you. We'll scroll up, and in here, you can see we sorted these orders, right, for display purposes by date descending. Well, before we start decorating the orders, let's do the opposite. Let's sort them by date ascending. For price comparison. And instead of B minus A, we'll do A minus B. All right, does that make sense? So we sorted them by date ascending, and now we have access to the previous order and then our current order. All right, awesome. So that's actually another reason why inside the scripts, let's see, seed, exchange, we waited for 1 second, because if you run this in development, you'll get conflicts with timestamps because each second will be on top. It'll, if I run this with Ganache, it'll go really fast, and then this order would have the exact same timestamp as this one. So that's why we wait, to get distinct timestamps. All right. So let's see here. Now we've sorted these, and we can pass in the previous order. So I'll do that like this. Basically, whenever we're mapping over the orders, we're going to keep track of the previous order. So for decorate filled orders, we'll basically say previous order, equals order. And we'll say update previous order once it's decorated. And it's important that we use the decorated order, not a raw order here. All right, we're going to return the order. And what we can do is basically pass this down. Okay, so we got decorate filled orders. We want to say order and then previous order. All right, let's do that here. And then we pass in the previous order, or whatever we're doing that. And the first time, there's not going to be a previous order, and that's okay. We'll account for that case. All right. So we got previous order here. And then when we actually try to generate the token price class, we'll pass in the previous order like this. So order ID and then previous order. All right, and then previous order. All right. So that looks right so far. We've access to previous order down here. So we can generate the price class like this. We'll say if, oops, sorry, I don't want to do that in comments. I'll move this up. If previous order token price is less than or equal to the token price. All right, it's the current token price. Then we want to return green, right? And then else return red. All right, we're going to need to define these, but that gives you the basic idea. Okay. So that should work. All right, now let's define green and red. So Bootstrap uses some classes to give green and red out of the box. Green is usually denoted by the success class in Bootstrap. And also red is usually denoted by the danger class. So I'm going to define those in our helpers like this, but it makes it more readable. So we'll say export const red equals danger. Export const green equals success. Let's put green first. All right. So inside the selectors, we'll pull that in. And we'll say green, red. All right. So there we go. And then also, if there's no previous order, we want to handle that case. So basically, we'll just show a green price. So let's do that like this. Boom. Show green price if only one order exists. Previous order ID equals the order ID, and then we'll basically just return green. Okay. So we're not worried about that. All right. And actually, I made a little bit of a mistake. So we do want to keep track of the previous order. We don't want it to be blank. So we, updated the previous order once it's decorated, but we basically want to say let previous order equal orders 0. It'd be the first order. All right. So we'll say, track previous order to compare history. All right. So I think that does what we want it to do. Let's go refresh the page and look at here. So decorate filled order is not defined. So I think we probably just misnamed something. So decorate filled order. Let's just copy this. Oh, I misspelled it. So I'm just going to copy this and paste it here. All right. Let's reload the page and our markup loads, and let's check the console to see if all the decoration happened like we expected. All right, let's see here. All right, there we go. We got a token price class success. So that's the first order in the list. Now, I hope the second one is red. I think it was lower. There we go, danger. All right, and then also success, boom. So green, red, green. Awesome. Now we've got completely decorated orders that we can list out in this section here. And that was a lot of work that we just did. Congratulations for bearing with me. But now we will use our progress and fill out that section. So that's going to go a lot faster. What we'll do is basically pull all that in. We've got the filled orders already there, and we'll just list them out. So what we'll do is basically loop through them. So TR, this is wrong. This needs to be a T body. in here. So we'll say tbody, tbody, and I'll use that. All right, and so in this we'll say field orders. We'll evaluate JavaScript inside of here. We'll say field orders, map. We'll say order. All right, and then we will, actually we need an extra here. This map is a function. All right, so now what we'll do is break this up. And I'm going to say return that same table that we just took out, or that same table row. So I know this is a little confusing, but do like this. All right, I think that'll work. So let's just see if we have a table row. We'll say foo bar baz, then we should just see 3 orders listed there. All right, so field orders is not defined. So field orders. I believe we need this dot props. Try that. All right, so we got an issue. Cannot read map of undefined. So basically, field orders isn't loaded yet. So what I'll do is solve this issue. I'm going to take this and actually put it into its own function. All right. So I'll create a new function up here above, outside of our component completely. All right, we'll say const show filled orders. We'll say filled orders. Inside of here, I'll actually do this operation. So say return this. Or actually, let's do this entire thing. Let's do the entire table body. So I'll take this out, and then I'll put it inside of here. And actually, let's do it inside of a return. Return. All right, I'm going to move this over. Okay, so this is going to say, we'll take off this dot props. We'll just do field orders. We'll map over them like this, foobarb as. And then basically, we're going to use this to see if the order selector, if they're loaded yet. Sorry, this. If they are, then we'll call this function. And if not, then we won't. Okay, so I'll do a component like this. We'll say this dot props dot filled orders loaded. And question mark, we'll say show filled orders. We'll say this props dot filled orders. And if not, then we'll just show an empty t-body for now. We're going to refactor this to show something else in a minute, but I'll just do that for now. All right, so let's see if that worked. All right, so I got an issue, cannot read map of undefined. So that didn't get us what we wanted. All right, so there's an issue where filled orders is undefined, and we need to fix it before we can actually, before we can render it out. That's okay, we're still going to make progress towards this. We were going to do this anyway, but let me just see if I can figure out why we're getting undefined here. The issue's in here. So we're just logging the orders. We actually need to return them now that we've decorated them. Return orders. All right, easy enough. So I'll save that, and hopefully that'll work. All right, no more issues. All right, there we go. We can see it. Foo bar baz, right? Kinda. Off screen. Looks really terrible, and that's fine. We're gonna update this and fix all this, but that at least shows us that, you know, we're getting something to the screen. It's the right number of things, 3, because there were 3 orders in that array. All right, now let's fix it. Let's keep developing on this. While we're here, let's go ahead and call this trades. All right, go back here. Boom, there we go, trades. Awesome. Okay, so let's keep going on this. Let's fill in the first piece of data here, all right? What I want to do is fill in basically the timestamp, all right? That's going to be the formatted timestamp that we used. So I'll open some curly braces to evaluate JavaScript. We'll say order formatted timestamp. All right, go back and look at that. Okay, we see a little bit of progress. All right, and then I also want to add some styling to this. We'll say class name equals text muted. It's going to make it kind of grayed out. All right, there we go. It's a little nicer. Let's figure out what's going on with our table so we can see this render properly. All right, so, it's because this is inside the table header. So let me take that out. Sorry, guys. All right, let's put this here. Awesome. All right, that's looking better. So see a time. Here's our time. Here's the token. Here's the price. All right, so let's go back here and continue filling this out. Now we'll fill in the token amount and the price like this. Boom. So we just pass in the token amount as a regular value, and then we say, here's the token price, which we built inside of our selector. And then we pass in the token price class, which remember is going to be green or red to show the status of the order. All right, so let's see if that worked. Boom, there we go. We can see the time, that's the name of the token, and the amount of tokens, and then also the price. All right, so that's looking really awesome. There's a couple things we got to do here just to finish this off, but we want to basically say we have to tell React that this is unique. All right, and let me explain why. So basically, like, React has to manage how many of these are rendered to the DOM, so it has to have something called a key. And we'll just use the ID for the order to generate that. And I'll just paste that in like this. Boom. So here's the key. It's going to be the order ID so that each table row is unique. And then also, we're going to go ahead and give it a class name that corresponds to the order ID as well. So we can read that out on the page. All right, so looking good. Now, finally, what I want to do is, like, if we refresh the page, like, we see a flash of content here. Like, it kind of goes nuts. What I want to do is add a spinner. So basically, if we're loading data from the blockchain still, we're trying to fetch the orders out or make calculations, then we want to show a spinner. Okay. So remember, this whole thing waits for the contracts to get loaded, but like while we're loading the orders and stuff from the event streams, I want to show a spinner. So I'll create a new spinner like this. We'll just go... delete that. Create a new file here in the same directory. So it's going to be a component just called spinner. And we're just going to use the basic bootstrap spinner. Okay. Now, this spinner is going to appear in all these cards when we build this out. Okay. And sometimes they're going to be inside tables, and sometimes it's going to be inside divs. And React will yell at you if you try to put a table inside a div and vice versa. So I'm going to create a new spinner like this. Boom. And all this does is create a function that returns either a table or a div, depending on the type that we tell it. And it's going to give it these bootstrap styles to tell it that it's a spinner. All right. So I'll render that out inside this. So tbody equals, instead of that, we're going to say spinner. So I'll import the spinner first. We'll do that here. We'll just say import spinner from spinner. And if it's not loading, we'll say spinner. And we need to tell it what kind of component it wants to render. So we'll say type equals table. All right. So let's load the page and watch that happen. All right, boom. You see the spinner flash for just a second. It's not there for very long. It'll be longer like when we load up the order book or show our deposits, okay? Yeah, but we're going to use this spinner throughout the rest of this capstone project when we're loading components. All right, so that works like we expect. Awesome. So now I also want to refactor this a little bit. Inside of our content, I want to make this trades top level. So I want to use this vertical. And I'm going to put it inside of here. Let's just say trades. Move this over. All right, so I'm going to minimize this. And all right, paste this in. And that'll refactor this a little bit. All right. So refresh this. That's looking a little better. All right, and there we go. That is your completed trade view for our cryptocurrency exchange. We can see all the trades that have already happened on our smart contract. Whenever we wire this whole thing up, all the new trades will exist here. So yeah, this is really exciting. You've actually kind of got your first taste of what it's like to load smart contract data to a real world dApp. All right, so congratulate yourself on getting this far, and I'll catch you in the next video where we're going to list out the order book.